All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. My name is Eric Polzin. You can follow me at 9to5Sports. Going to be breaking down this Monday 15-game slate. Yes, we have a massive slate tonight, which means there's going to be a lot of value open up on this slate. Sure, this video is going to be a little bit longer than I typically like it, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of valuable nuggets for you guys. Okay, even in yesterday's video on a small 3-game slate, we gave you guys Christian Coloco as a value play, and he ended up going for 34 DK points. 1% owned on the slate. So, even on a small slate, providing value for you guys. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this coverage. If you are, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That helps us be able to put out more NBA DFS content for you guys. I do want to remind you guys that this is going to be a big slate as well. Obviously, okay, there's going to be some slate breaking news that comes before lock or after lock. Okay, be in the Occupy Discord chat. The link is in the description below. That is going to be needed tonight, okay? And then also do want to remind you guys that all the tools that you see featured in this video are available for Occupy Fantasy members as well. Link to join that is also in the description below. All right, without further ado, let's get into the breakdown of this slate. All right, so we got to look at the value or the injury report here. To start off with, we're going to go by who is already listed as out, okay? Got a lot of players here. Kyrie Irving, Siakam, John Wall's out, okay. Leonard's out still, James Harden, Gordon Hayward, Cole Anthony, Dennis Schroeder, and then a bunch of players that have been out for a while, okay? And then we're going to look at game time decisions. Bradley Beal, if he sits, that could open up some value. Simons is doubtful, okay? He is someone that, could open up some value on the slate as well. So a lot of injury news that we need to monitor and watch for pre-lock, but at the same time, we do have enough injury news to make educated lineup choices this early, okay? It is a massive slate, so you still can make great lineups even without factoring in the injury news, although that could be the difference between like a really good night and just a so-so night. So looking at the Occupy model, we're going to pull up the index here just to look at who are the top plays. You can see all the top plays that should be on the slate are listed here. I do want to call out Damian Lillard. If he is active, he is someone that, is a priced up or a pay up play that you could play that is expected to pop, that is expected to be a value for you on this slate. Kristaps Porzingis on the back end of a back-to-back, that is a worry, but he does get a great matchup against Charlotte, a matchup in which you would think he'd be able to dominate, especially at this price point. Like, it wouldn't be shocking to see him go for 50 DK points or fantasy points, DFS points. The issue is that he sucked last night. Okay, that's a big worry. But price point wise could be great. Miles Turner always popping up there. It just won't be surprising to see him pop. Now let's just look at the top values on the slate. We're going to start with FanDuel. So Kyle Anderson, guys, Kyle Anderson is a great value on the slate, moved into the starting lineup for the Timberwolves and had some great production in that game. Okay. On FanDuel, it's tough not to play him if he's going to be starting. We look at the minutes that he's projected to get around 26. I would imagine he'd be able to get, around 20 FanDuel points. On DraftKings, not exactly a must play at 4.1, but certainly someone you could still look at as well. On FanDuel, guys, Miles Turner, I don't think he is a must play. I would much rather play him on DraftKings. If you are someone that plays on both FanDuel and DraftKings, play Miles Turner if you guys want to get exposure to him on DraftKings instead of FanDuel, although on FanDuel, still a good value as well, as we can clearly see. From there, D'Anthony Melton there, yes, he's popping up with James Harden out. He is someone that should be a safe, 30 fantasy point play. Andrew Neighbord here, he is popping up as well as a value on both slates. Let's see how many minutes he's projected to get. 27. Okay, interesting there. Let's look at his game log real quick. All right, so had 28 minutes in the last game. That was a close game. So that would suggest that he might be someone that they turn to if he's active. Now, we have to see if he's active. That's the big thing here. But if he is, could step into a big role. Obviously shot the ball poorly in his last game. If he makes a couple more buckets, that's 20 DK points at a cheap price point or FanDuel points at a cheap price point. I could see it, for now. Not a terrible plug in for value if you need to go that route. Naz Reid kind of popping up there. I get it. I don't think I'm going to be going on my way to play him, but with Rudy Gobert ruled out, he is someone you could look at for value. Benedict Mathurin, someone you could look at. Not terrible. And just to call it, the reason why those two are popping up is because Chris Durante is going to be ruled out in this game. So there are some minutes that are popping up available for the Pacers. I will say, Julius Randle, kind of a price point play you could easily go with. I like him a little bit more on FanDuel where he's a little bit cheaper. Someone I do think you should get exposure to, someone I do see getting 40 DK points with Mitchell Robinson ruled out should just mean a little bit more usage to him and should just mean a little bit more safety. Same thing goes for RJ Barrett as well. I think RJ Barrett a great value on this slate, especially on FanDuel where he's $500 cheaper. Like you could easily go Randall and Barrett and feel really comfortable starting your builds out that way, especially in a decent matchup. Patrick Williams still popping up as a decent value. Back end of a back-to-back for them. Should be all right. All right, let's look at DraftKings value. Yeah, so Miles Turner just keeps popping up, guys, okay? He's a point per minute player. Projected to get 31 minutes, okay? Cheap price point. Like, I'm not saying you have to play him, but I do think it'd be foolish not to get some exposure to him. Melton's still popping up there. Niebird still popping up there. Kevon Looney popping up there. All the same guys are pretty much popping up here. Christian Coloco popping up as well. Let's see how many minutes he's projected to get tonight. 20. It could be someone you're looking at, but for the most part, the same players. All right, so let's just look at ownership here, and then we'll look at the live odds, and then we'll be getting into a kind of first look build for you. So looking at the ownership here, Isaiah Hartenstein is popping up there with Mitchell Robinson. Ruled out. That makes sense. A lot of people are seeing that Kyle Anderson value early on. That makes sense. Terry Rozier, a cheap price point for a guy that's probably going to get you around 40 DK points. Scotty Barnes, same thing. Very cheap for a guy that could easily get you 40 DK points. Early on, people are looking at Miles Turner as a kind of price point play. That makes sense. OG popping up there as well. A very, very strong price point play that I'll touch on here in a second. Darius Garland looking like a solid play. You got Mann, who could be a very solid value. Kristaps Porzingis, an okay play. Okay, we do worry about his production on the back end of the back-to-back after a bad game, but great matchup, someone that could go off. We can see a lot of spread out ownership on this slate, and that's kind of the beauty of a big slate. Let's just look at FanDuel here, and then we'll be breaking down this slate, kind of giving you guys a first look build. All right, so looking at the FanDuel value here, who is soaking up the most ownership there? You got Hartenstein getting a lot of ownership right now on FanDuel. Kind of makes sense. Cheap price point play. Brandon Ingram, I guess that's 7.4. That is a great price point for him there. Giannis, some people are forcing him in. I guess you can. Porzingis, Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet. I don't know. I would rather go with Scotty and OG rather than Fred VanVleet, especially at similar price points. That's interesting that he's popping up the most there. And then just more of the same for FanDuel. And then just real quick, looking at which games we want to be targeting on this slate, we can see there are a few games that get to 230 over and under, or above 230 for an over and under. Pacers versus Pelicans, Grizzlies versus Celtics, Timberwolves versus Knicks, Spurs Nuggets, and then Kings versus Warriors. But let's look at the spread because, a blowout could really hurt you tonight. You could be on the correct plays, but a blowout could get to you. So possibly the Spurs, unfortunately. Devin Vassell is someone that's a strong price point play, but is that game going to be a blowout? That's the worry there. Kings, Warriors could be a blowout as well. That's a big worry there as well. So interesting stuff. All right, so now just trying to give you guys a first look build. We're going to start off with which guard plays I really like on this slate. Now, starting with Luka, yes, you might be able to force Luka into a lot of builds tonight if some more value opens up on this slate. You could be locking in around 60 points and then find value elsewhere. Like if you can get 30 points from a sub 4K play or a couple of them, then yes, you can easily fit in Luka and feel pretty good about it. Lillard is someone that, if active, could be a very strong price point play. We'll see if he's going to be active. He's sat out the last few games. Would have to worry about a minutes restriction. Maxey is someone I still think you can go to and play on this slate, but he is definitely priced up now after being extreme chalk on his last slate. Over 40 DK points the last two games. Shot the ball a ton the last two games as well. You could play him. I'm not saying he's a must play, but he's definitely someone you can still look at. Terry Rozier, also kind of same thing. A player that should get it right around 40 DK points. He's currently averaging 46 DK points. And once again, those shot attempts continue to be there for him. I love looking at shot attempts, especially at the point guard spot. Those two are two players that are shooting the ball a ton. I do think Jalen Brunson's going to be a low own, but he could be a low own 40 DK point play. And I kind of don't hate the idea of stacking the New York Minnesota game slightly because there are some decent plays. Like the Knicks are all priced pretty cheap on this slate. So you could easily kind of build a nice floor by targeting them. We look at Darius Garland, still very cheap for some reason. 6.9 is a cheap price point for him. His last two games, 62 and 38 DK points. That's spectacular. If he is going to be getting a full allotment of minutes, we like that, especially against the Clippers. That is a strong matchup play. Someone like Russell Westbrook, I do worry about the back end of a back-to-back, but guys, 2 straight games of over 40 DK points. He is kind of priced at his floor. Since he's been coming off that second unit, he has been playing extremely well. Okay, he came close to a double or a triple-double a couple of games. He just got a double-double last game. Playing well. And at 6.5, that's a cheap price point for him. Jordan Clarkson's been someone that's been very solid. Just do you need to play him on the slate? That's the question. I don't know. Probably going to get you around 30 DK points to maybe even 40. Back into the back-to-back, though, that's a worry. Melton is someone that you can play. He is someone that we expect to have that usage still with Harden out. 15-plus shot attempts, maybe a couple more assists. Still cheap enough to consider playing. Like 35 DK points is certainly within the realm of possibilities. Should be a strong price point play for you. And then Andrew Nembhard here. He is a value play that you could look at if he's going to be active. If he sits, then Benedict Mathurin maybe is just someone that you're looking at to get a little bit more minutes. All right, looking at the top forward plays on the slate, yes, we have a ton of great forward plays. Giannis is someone you can certainly pay up for. I do expect KD to have a great game as well. Starting to get up there, though. Okay, you're starting to get that premium price point, and that's the worry. Towns is someone that obviously center power forward you could certainly play. I do expect him to go for 50 DK points in this game. In this matchup with the New York Knicks, it's a great matchup, and I think that's the biggest reason to his price bump. Factor in the fact that Rudy Gobert is also ruled out, then yes, a few more rebounds should be funneled Towns' way. So it should be a good solid play for you on tonight's slate. Just does he have that upside to get you like 60 DK points? Because at this price point, you might need that. There might be other center plays that can give you 45 DK points. The difference between a 7K center play and Towns could be minimal. Yeah, I do really like Julius Randle as a play on the slate with Mitchell out. I do think he's going to be close to a double-double. The production should be there as well. If he stays out of foul trouble, should be a good play, and that's the big question. If he stays out foul trouble, if he does get into foul trouble, Obi Toppin would be something that you could look at as well. Probably would get right around 20 minutes or so. As price point, he is a DK point per minute player. If he gets 20 minutes, could easily get 20 DK points. Someone you could definitely look at on the slate. I already mentioned Scotty Barnes should be a quality play. Lauri Markkanen, perfectly fine playing him, still way too cheap. Devin Vassell, you could play. The last 2 games have been blowouts for the Spurs somewhat. Still 35 DK points in those games. Heck, he's been over 35 DK points in every game thus far, except for the first game against Charlotte. Okay, so if this game's going to stay close, he is someone that should get right around 30 minutes. That's a big question. Okay, he could easily go for 40 DK points, would not be too shocking. Obviously, like the fact that he has a guard and forward eligibility. OG is certainly someone you're going to play. I think he's going to be chalky, but he's someone I think you definitely want to play. Let's just put him in there for now. And I'm going to go back to the Knicks and plug them in real quick as well. I haven't mentioned RJ Barrett just yet, but he is a strong price point play, I think, as well. I think we are going to be locking in at least 35 DK points, just getting a little bit more usage. Strong matchup. Should be a save play, but should be a play that can give you some upside as well. So Scotty Barnes going to put him in the point guard spot. All right, now we have a decent look at the players I want to be on thus far. Chris Boucher, you could go with here a little bit as well. Someone that, if the minutes are there, could be a good play. We just don't know the minutes for sure. They're not guaranteed. Like if he was 4K, we'd love that, because then we'd be locking in pretty much 20 DK points, which is, I think, what we're going to get here. If he gets a little bit more run, let's say 25 minutes, could easily get to 30 DK points. Could be a risk or reward based play. Definitely risky in terms of there's probably other values going to open up on the slate, but also if the minutes are there, then he should be a strong price point play. And then yes, Kyle Anderson looking like he's going to be chalk, but it is chalk that I think you're going to need to eat. So man is someone that is expected to get a little bit more minutes in this one. So if those minutes that are expected continue to be there, once again, just make sure on the Discord chat before lock, hey, are his minutes still locked in? Then if they are, should be a strong price point play. I do like the idea of playing him in the guard spot. And then just finishing up here, center-wise, yes, you could play Towns. I'm fine with that. Vooch just went for 44 DK points against Toronto with Siakam out. Someone that could definitely get to 40 DK points once again. Brook Lopez, still kind of a strong price point play. Not someone you particularly have to go out of your way to play, though. To go for 36 DK points against Atlanta earlier this season. Someone you could play, not someone you have to play. Isaiah Hartenstein is looking like a very quality price point play. Guys, he played 38 minutes and only scored 32 DK points. And I say that because, if you would have told me that we're getting 38 minutes out of him, I would have been like, all right, he went for 40 DK points easily. Okay. The worry about him is the same worry with Julius Randle, potential to get into foul trouble, although he has been pretty good thus far. I mean, in limited minutes, he is still getting to some fouls. Okay, and I guess that'd be the worry, but should be a strong price point play for you on this slate. And then, Christian Koloko, you could play. Obviously, if those minutes are going to be there for him, again, then he should be a strong price point play. Can't guarantee those minutes at all, but, kind of a risk-reward based play. If you're trying to find a value at the center spot, he'd be someone you could look at least at this point of the day. So for this first look build, we have a lot of salary left over, as you can see. You could certainly play Curry, who is expected to have a great game if he plays. Easily could go for 50 DK points. Then we have a solid, first look build here for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this coverage. If you did, please go like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us be able to help you guys out. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, click the link in the description below, as well as to get access to that Discord chat that is going to be live before lock. All right, thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate and good luck.